This whole lone wolf mentality is a lie. The lone wolf is a sick wolf. The strength is in the pack. Nothing is ever built on its own. There's no such thing as self-made. Like, it takes a village. You kind of like said it at the beginning, like, how do you balance it all? It's like, because I found out what really matters. Your work will thrive so much more. Your creativity will thrive so much more when you stop and you go play with your kids. And you have this, you actually live life.
And we are live. Nick, how are you, brother?
Great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, I'm excited to be chatting with you, man. I don't do a whole lot of prep work before I bring guests on. I just want it to be a casual, organic conversation, but a quick 30-second scroll on your Instagram. You got all kinds of stuff going on, man. You got military background, entrepreneur. I mean, the works pretty much. You're a father too, right?
Yep. I got 3 kids, one on the way. We're adopting one.
Nice.
There's one on the way, and then I just wrapped up helping produce and advise for the new Punisher special presentation for Marvel.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. How do you juggle all of that? Because we got 2 kids. We just had one born 5 weeks ago, and it's like doing all the stuff that you're doing as an ambitious, driven person, especially when you're involved in multiple entities with business. It's like doing all that while also being a present father is a task, man.
It is a task. Nothing is ever built on its own. There's no such thing as self-made. Like, it takes a village, and I have to have a team, right? Like, I got a great group of teammates and employees. My wife's a teammate and a gangster herself, and this is not the Nick show by any means.
Yeah. Takes a village, man. For sure.
Every one of my businesses have great people involved. I've got great business partners. I've got a great wife that supports, the endeavors that we have. And she's involved as well as a marketing director. So it really is that, like, if you try to go at it on your own, this whole lone wolf mentality is a lie. The lone wolf is a sick wolf. The strength is in the pack. And that's kind of what we have here.
Awesome, man. When did all of the other entities and endeavors come to be? Was that all after the military?
Yeah, this was all after the military. I started my first business in 2013. That was my first, and we did good for a while, and the climate changed and I changed, and but I consider that my first business failure. Because we didn't get to where the goal was. We didn't get to take it to where I'd planned to take it. But it was really a blessing in disguise. That failure led me to the next thing, which led me to the next thing. And at one point, man, I had 7 different businesses, and that was with a small team, and that was chaotic. And we eventually, in 2018, 17, 18, going into 18, we sold off several. And we killed a couple, and then the ones that really are kind of like by fate, the ones that we have now all kind of really took legs and started in 2018, and I've been real focused on those 3 since then.
When you had 7, were you like legitimately invested and passionate about all 7, or were some of them just kind of by happenstance?
It was, yeah. I mean, I thought they were ideas, right? My idea was like more businesses, more money, and they were all underperforming because you're spread so thin. And then there were some really good ones in there. Those are the ones that we sold, right? I sold 3, I exited 3 companies, and not for crazy money, but for good. And those just set up the next ones. But yeah, it's not something that I think that people really need to go all in on one thing and do that really, really well. If I didn't have the business partners and the team that I have now, I would be focused on one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. When you were in the military, were you like entrepreneurial minded then, or did that?
Yeah, I actually was and didn't realize it. I actually started a training nutrition company while I was active to help out people when I was back, in doing different, training and nutrition stuff. And it was a lot of like, neighborhood people, and it was real small, but I did. And I didn't even really know that I had created a business. I just had an idea, and people had a problem, and I knew I could solve that problem. And so I started helping people, and that was my first thing. But that was really focused on time. Like I didn't have an industry where when I was deployed, I was still running it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like
Mm-hmm.
it would shut down. It was only there if I was there. And I know a
Right.
lot of guys that started and created business and built businesses while they were in the military. Nick Barrett from BPN is one of them. He
Yeah, I got
started
him coming on the podcast tomorrow, so I'm excited to chat with him.
really.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my boy, man. I've been
Nice.
working with BPN for like 8 years now,
Very
and
cool.
yeah, Nick's a good friend, incredible man, incredible father, friend, entrepreneur. But yeah, he started like guys like that. He started in his dorm and then went and then ran it all through this time in the army, and then look at what it is today. You know,
Very
so
impressive.
yeah, so I had that bug. I definitely had that bug. Kind of growing up and and in the military, but it didn't really I didn't really act on it until I got fired. I got fired from a contracting job, and I was like, oh, and there's a story there, but I was like, well, if I can do it for this large of a company, then I can do it for myself. And here we
What
are.
was the catalyst, the motivation for getting in the military in the first place, man? Like, were you coming from a family of people that served, or was that just
My
totally you?
my grandfather on my mom's side was retired Army. He got out in the 70s though. He got drafted in Korea and then did 2 tours in Vietnam. Um, was with the 82nd and the 101st Airborne at different times, obviously, and so there was always that. I always had this like kind of appreciation for him from the military service. But no, for me, it came down to I was working. I was working at I was like 16, maybe I was 17 at this point, but I was 16. I started there, and maybe I was 17 years old. And I was working at a place called Bay Point Marriott in Panama City Beach, Florida. From 6 a.m. to 2 a.m., I was the audiovisual tech making, and this is in the 90s, making $15 an hour,
Mm-hmm.
which was phenomenal. And then I would take a 30-minute break, have lunch on site, and then from 2:30 to 10 p.m. I was a bellman, and man, I was making cash. Like we're talking anywhere upwards to $4,000 a week between the
Nice.
two jobs
17 years old.
at 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, it's quite
Like I had a
crazy.
house, in Panama City Beach. I lived on my own. Moved out of my mom's house. And then I had this little place on the beach, had my own car. Like, man, I had more money than I knew what to do with. I have nothing to show for that. I had nothing to show for it. I don't even know. I can't even tell you to this day where all that money went. But I saw these older guys, which in my mind, they were like 60. They were probably just in their 40s. At the time, I felt like they were ancient. And I saw my future and I was like, oh man, in 10, 20 years, I could be doing the exact same thing that they're doing in the exact same place. And I panicked and I just hit the exit. I hit the nuclear option. I just blew it up and quit those jobs. Moved in with I went to a recruiter first and said, hey, I want to join. I was like, what's the hardest branch? The Marine Corps at the entry level. And I said, okay, if the Marine Corps is the hardest branch to join, then I want to join. I want to be the best. I want to be a Marine. So I went to talk to the Marine recruiter, and he did his whole spiel, and then he's like, took all my information down, and then ran to the back and ran my info, and came out. And I'll never forget, man. This guy is like, who lives actually down the road from me now, in North Carolina. He retired out here, and this was in Florida. Michael Klein. He came back, and I'll never forget his face. He was like, man, you're never joining the Marine Corps. And he's like, matter of fact, you're not joining any branch. Now, keep in mind, this was like the Clinton era of the military. And he goes, man, you are 2-time convicted felon. You're a high school dropout. Like, you have all these misdemeanors. Like, there's under no circumstance are you ever joining this Marine Corps. And that was
Wow.
that was the worst thing he could have ever done, because at that point I was like, oh, is that right? Is that a fact? And I just blew up my life, and that became my mission. I moved in with my grandmother. I gave up those jobs. I started working nights. I went to college because those you don't know, if you're a high school dropout, the military doesn't like high school dropouts, but they love a college dropout. So I was like, well, I'll just enroll. And I got a GED. I'll enroll into college, do a semester, and then drop out. And I was like, if I do that, what happens? They're like, well, now you're a college dropout, not a high school dropout. Two thumbs up. Let's roll. So I did that, and then I had to get a letter. 100. It almost took me almost 2 years to get in, but I focused. I turned 19. I turned 19 in recruit training, and so it almost took me 2 years to get in, but I did. And of course, as life kicks you in the balls, I worked for almost 2 years to get in. On day 7, I broke my wrist and got dropped to a medical rehabilitation platoon. Had to fight through that, and there's a whole other story there too. But yeah. That's how it all went down.
And how long were you in the military?
12 years.
12 years. All positive in regards to that character development stuff, or were there lots of, the military I've got a lot of friends in the military, but I've not been prior military. Yeah. And I hear all their sides of things, and it's like,
listen, it depends on how you take it, right? There's definitely some positive, things from the military. You got to look at where I'm at today, right? And, I got the great opportunity to make it through selection and assessment, to serve as a team guy in a special operations capacity in combat multiple times. And we got to do some really cool stuff. And the stuff that I learned there, the resume that I got there, is what set me up to be, to get a job and be a contractor in the area of work that I was, and do that. And then honestly, that experience is what gave me, also my personality, but also what gave me the resume and the grit to build what I've built in this chapter of my life. And it's given me a unique perspective on life and on business, and that I've carried on. And I have to say, it took a guy who grew up very poor, in trailer parks and Section 8 housing and different things, and getting your clothes from Goodwill, to build a life of success and build a life that I will be the one that has created generational wealth for my family. Awesome, and a lot of that goes to my decision to join the military and constantly push myself to level up there, just like I've leveled up in my other areas of my life at post-military service.
When you got out and you were in it for 12 years, when you got out, did you immediately start doing the contracting, or was that kind of in tandem with the entrepreneurial ventures, or had that?
No. I was on terminal leave for a while, and I was, applying for jobs and this and that. And I got picked up by a company that I actually had worked with while I was active duty. So I was working directly with a company and employing a technology in Marine Special Operations Command. And when I got out, they picked me up as a contractor.
Gotcha.
And I worked with them for about a year and a half.
How does the contracting compare to active military? There's a lot of parallels, I would assume, but they're all kind of factoring on your skill set from the military. But how does that work? It's just a lifestyle difference.
You make a shit ton more money, man.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
That's the main thing. You make a lot more money, and when my first year out of the military, I think I made $165,000, and I just thought I was rich. Which at the time was crazy money. In this day and age, unfortunately, it's not even that much money these days. But man, back then, 2013 timeframe, I thought I was, I thought I'd made it.
Balling, yeah.
Yeah, balling. And until I got the call saying, "Hey man, they just canceled your contract," which, in my mind is like, well, you got fired. And,
how did that roll out? Was it did it totally take you by surprise?
Yeah, it did. But to be honest, I definitely pushed the envelope a little bit. When I got out, I was real rough around the edges. My communication style and leadership was not what it is today. I'm going to be wrong. Military style leadership and communication was there. Maybe not corporate level leadership and communication. So I was still rough around the edges. And, if I was right about something, which I still stand by me being right in the way that I serviced DoD clients and the way that we trained, equipped them, and did missions and things like that. I was definitely correct. But, you're dealing with Silicon Valley type individuals and, people that are outside the military. So like you have to be able to navigate personalities, and I was just like, no, this is the way, this is what's right, and then, blaze a trail to make it happen. And I did do that. I did really good. Built a great team. We'd established a program of record and a program that was and this is what happened. They canceled my contract on Monday, and I got a call from somebody on my team saying, hey, they just took our program that we developed and they rolled it out to the entire company as standard operating procedure. And so they just removed me out of the way, which, I would have helped them and take that program that we established and rolled it out, but they wanted me out of the way, because then probably it's like my ideas are and they probably had an idea of the way they wanted to do it. And if you work for a company, you create something, it's their intellectual property, right? But that was the catalyst for me starting my own company. I immediately had another job offer with a different company making the same amount of money. And I turned it down.
To do your own thing.
I turned it down because I was like, if I can create something that takes this company and they take it and they roll it as standard operating procedure, then I can create something of my own. So that gave birth to my first company, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a multimillionaire within a year, and I'll have this wrapped up. And that was definitely not the case. And, it took me 10 years, but that's the way it goes.
And what was the first company you started?
It was some guys that followed me still remember it. It was STS, Survival and Tactical Systems. It was a contracting and company that we did tactical training everywhere from the beginning level to advisories to business and corporate events and personal security and a whole lot of other things. And I had aspirations of building a training compound here in the local area to contract for military and law enforcement, and then have civilians train there as well. And it was a multi-million-dollar business plan, and it just never came to fruition.
What was the next thing after
that? I maintained that. So I let go of my staff. We had a whole training staff. I let go of that, and then I focused on the other businesses that I had. So the other business, I had some brick and mortar stores, I had some online businesses that were selling things, and I just got heavily
in the military application, or
no, not necessarily. I had a shipping and receiving store that we bought, and then I had a online fitness subscription box brand called Spartan Carton. I had a coffee company. I was doing a lot of media. So there's a lot of things. I started to get into TV. I did a thing with Discovery. So there's a lot of little things that I had going on. And that was our daily life. And that's, and my idea then was like, I'm just going to do a bunch of shit. I'm going to throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks. And then,
you were doing this all alongside your wife, like she was helping you build all these
from day one, bro. From day one.
I like it, man.
Yeah,
it's rare.
Like let's be real. Like none of this would have happened. Like I didn't even want to be on the internet, bro. She's the one that helped me. She's the one that said I should start my first personal, because all we had was business accounts. And she's like, you need to start your own personal brand, because the way it happened was we started marketing the training company, and then companies started reaching out because they wanted to work. And this is like a long time ago, right? This is like the tactical boom post-war. And companies wanted to reach out, and they wanted to work with me on advertising, marketing, et cetera. So I was making videos for flashlight companies, and I was, becoming brand ambassador type stuff for different companies. And to be honest, man, I didn't really enjoy any of it. I didn't really enjoy any of that style of work. It was just a limiting belief that that's all that I could do. And that really was like, I had a limiting belief that was my worth. I hadn't yet realized all of the other intrinsic values that I had by being in special operations and the work that I'd done overseas for so long, and how that transpired into other areas of business.
Yeah.
And leadership.
What was the aha moment that opened that door?
It's a good question. I think that I was for a while I was doing, because I went to film school, and we were shooting commercials. So because we were shooting so many commercials and doing so much in media space, I was like, well, let me learn how to do this better. So I actually went to the same college my wife went to. She got a film degree, and she was like, hey, there's this school, Full Sail. You have your GI Bill. They'll pay you to go to school, and then you can learn this stuff. And plus, they like give you like a $15,000 package, and they give you like a 15. So they gave me like a badass camera. They gave me a computer. They gave me all kinds of stuff, and that's really what I started to learn about, like film and storytelling and movie making, and shooting commercials and et cetera. And I would say that was a big pivot right then. And then when I was YouTubing and making videos for YouTube, which I still am, just in a different capacity, I did this thing called the 90-day vlog, and the idea of it was New Year's resolution. I was going to shoot a video 6 days a week for 90 days. And my point to it was to show people that a goal without a plan is just a wish. Like New Year's resolutions have always, I mean, I'm sure you, with your clients and people that you see, like, you're probably not a big fan of New Year's resolutions either. Like, it just ekes me. I'm like, you're not going to do shit because you want the result without doing the work to get the result, right? You're just like, I'm going to do this. So my whole point to it was show how New Year's resolutions are bullshit, that if you actually want to achieve something, a change in your life, then, I'm going to show you how to get there. And that's when I took my special operations hat and my planning hat, and I changed it to the civilian side. And when I did that, I saw how it transpired into so many areas of business. So like I set 3 goals, and I said, I'm going to document these goals over this 90-day period. And I want you guys to watch me achieve these pretty big goals, in 90 days. And I was breaking it down how I was going to do that. And then I documented the whole thing.
What were the 3 goals? You got me curious.
So I was going to launch my own brand of coffee. I was going to go from, how much did I weigh? I think I weighed like 230 or 240. I was 28%. I let myself go. I was quite heavy. And this was really like the beginning of like my comeback story.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, almost, when I got out, my last deployment, I was 240 and probably sub 10% body fat.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I was 29 years old. So now I'm a little older. I had a host of body, when you get out of the military, all these issues kind of start catching up with you. That's a whole separate story, that I wrote a book about. And it was called Excommunicated Warrior, The 7 Stages of Transition. Highly recommend that everybody reads that. It's not a veteran book. It's a human being book. We all go through transition in our life, one way or another. And so this is really like me taking ownership back of my life and health. So I just wanted to document that. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get down to, I don't remember, like 10% body fat or something from 28 in 90 days. And everybody's like, that's crazy. You can't do that. And I actually worked with Nick Bear from BPN, because we had just started working together. And I said, hey, dude, let's just document this whole fucking thing. And we can use it for BPN. I can use it for myself and just show it. And I'll use your supplements. I'll use your guidance, and we can collaborate on this thing. That was our first big collab. And back in the day. And,
Cool.
so I did that.
Goal?
What?
There was 3 goals. What was the third goal?
And the other goal was the coffee company. So from 0 to launch in 90 days, and so we documented trying out different beans, roasting different beans, learning how to properly make the best cup of coffee, the design, the bags, the infrastructure of the company, all of it. And we did all that in 90 days. And then the third one was to shoot six movies, essentially small movies, short movies, a week.
Nice.
Now,
That's a task, man. Like I used to do daily vlogging, and like when you're filming, editing,
bro,
and uploading on a daily basis, like that's a freaking nightmare and a half.
every single night I was in there putting videos together.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, like I was going to do every single day. My wife was like, listen, Linda, she's like, we need one day to catch up. We need one day to catch up. And, so that was kind of nice because then I wasn't rushed. You know what I mean? I could, I could do it and then take a little mental break on Sundays, but we did it. We shot a video 6 days a week for 90 days, documenting every single thing. And I mean, we did it through a snowstorm. I mean, it was brutal. It was brutal. Like every month there was another hurdle that we had to do it, and we did it for 90 days. And now, obviously, what I showed after the fact was there was primary and secondary goals with him. So the primary goal is what I told you, but the secondary goals was like looking at marketing BPN, selling fitness, showing what you can do, right? Like in 90 days, the plan, the phase line approach to planning. And then the coffee thing was the same way. It was like to get marketing hype around the coffee. And we sold we sold like so much coffee day one when we launched at the end of the 90-day vlog. So, there's primary and secondary goals there. And the third one was to grow the YouTube. And that if you do daily vlogging, there's this like algorithm pickup that happens when you're posting videos because it becomes a habit. Like you get into their habit routine of them watching you daily. So I want to say we grew over 100,000 subscribers in 90 days. I think it was over that. I think it was close to 150 in 90 days because of that. And that was the point. It was like, watch, one, I'm going to show you, I'm telling you, I'm doing this because I want to show you how to achieve something in 90 days for real, not just create a New Year's resolution. But then I want to on the back end, there was effects that I wanted to gain by doing it. And that's what it was.
I like it, man. I feel like, like you and I are both in the fitness space, nutrition space, like all the information's out there. Like people know how to do a proper movement, execute proper form, technique, eat real food. Like you can distill all the rabbit holes of nutrition down to pretty simple essence. And it's
very simple.
Yeah. And it's like adherence and consistency is like the stumbling block for everybody. And it's like, it doesn't have to be. I mean, like if you just chip away in some form or fashion every single day to move the needle, you'll reach the goal.
That's right.
And it's really that simple. I mean, like adherence is the key. And I feel like a lot of people, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know if it's just like they don't like the sacrifice, they don't like the adversity, they don't like the discomfort in the moment. But like once you do it long enough, it's not even discomfort anymore. It's not even
it's just normal life.
It's just normal. Yeah. And it's like brushing your teeth. Like when I got a 3-year-old, he hates brushing his teeth, but we do it every single day regardless. And when he's 4, 5, 6, it's just going to be part of his daily routine. It's like with everything.
That's right. And we've gotten into it. So like the Agogi for me, our company, very fitness based at a foundational level, but we get so much deeper because we learned. So working specifically with men over the years, I've learned that those are all like them not being consistent, it's all surface issues. I've learned that really the reason why they do the roller coaster thing, the yin yang, they fall off is a deeper seated issue that they haven't dealt with in their life. And not to get too real on you, but 1 in 3 men, and this statistic rings true because, and I've tested it over and over and over with a group of men that get vulnerable with me in a public setting. 1 in 3 men are physically abused as a child. 1 in 4 men are sexually abused as a child, and that's a scary statistic because you wouldn't think that. But the reality is like when you get men in a place where they can be vulnerable and honest, you start seeing hands and you start hearing these stories, and the statistic is true every single time. And I think when you don't deal with that is when your life, you will constantly self-sabotage because of your own personal beliefs or even subconscious beliefs that you don't deserve X. And I think that's why people, it's not a discipline problem. It's not a nutrition problem. It's not a fitness problem. It's a mindset problem and it's a trauma problem.
What do you think the best way to deal with that is? Like using that specific scenario, like it's going to probably look different for each individual, but by and large, what is the healthiest way to overcome
honestly,
that?
You own it. You own it. And you know, I don't know how religious you are, but you know, evil can't exist in the light, right? Darkness can't exist in the light. You shine light on something, it looks very differently and it scours away. We run men's retreats where we kind of work through this. Like we call it the Agoge Brotherhood retreat. And we work through some stuff and that we have some really serious conversations in those things after a couple events. Like we do some sauna and cold plunge work and we listen to Viking music and we have a lot of fun, right? But what it does is it makes men tired, right? And when you get men tired is when their walls start to come down and they don't have they're just too tired to do it. And then we have a real honest conversation. And I've got people that have gone through this process. Like I had one guy who was who actually went through the Agoge. He went through one of our retreats, and he was sexually assaulted as a child, and so he was able to speak and say, hey, "Listen, I turned my trauma into my superpower because now I'm able to help so many other people because of what happened to me. And if this didn't happen to me, like I wouldn't have a platform to stand on. I wouldn't be able to give men advice based off my own experience." And the truth is, and there's a lot of guys, they don't see that. They're like, how do I take this horrible thing that happened to me as a child? How do I take that and turn this into a strength? And the reality is like, and I make this analogy, I make this joke that is like, I can take shit and turn it into apple pie. But that's a choice. I'm choosing to make that happen. And that's exactly what does happen. You can take, and what happens is it takes the evil, it takes the shame, it takes all the power away from it. And it turns into this thing that gives you strength and gives you power. And that's when I start to see men change their lives, not just change their lives, but their relationship with their wives, their kids, their businesses, because there's always been this thing lurking over them that they've never dealt with. They just try to bury it deep, and it never really goes away until you face it head on, and then you're honest about it. And got a lot of guys, you know, over the years have gone public with it. They're like, hey man, this is what happened. And I think what happens is people think that it's a shame thing. Like they're ashamed, but they should not be ashamed. They're a kid. They're a victim, you know, in this situation, right? It's a horrible thing that happened to them. So they have nothing to be ashamed of. And I told one guy recently, I said, if you told people, I think that you'd be shocked at the response. Because I think that what they feel is that it would be like a bad mark on them is the way it makes them feel, especially as a child, right? Especially the way that happens to young men and women when they get abused. But the truth of the matter is like you get one, it gives other people the strength to come out and say, hey, like that happened to me too. I need to deal with this as well. Or two, you get this overwhelming amount of support that you didn't know you had.
Yeah, I definitely think being transparent is key. I mean, it like defangs that monster in your head. And like it's way more common with everything too. Like I was super open with disordered eating because like that's very prevalent in bodybuilding circles.
Right.
And
rough,
then
man.
Yeah, people started talking to me about that, and I just was transparent with it, and then that kind of became a catalyst for me to help others.
Right.
Why do you think there's 1 in 3, 1 in 4 statistics in the first place? Like, where does that stem from? Is it just like a generational thing that just keeps passing on?
I don't know, man. It's you know, like there's that saying that, you know, fucked up adults, you know, create fucked up children. Your fucked up children become fucked up adults that create fucked up children. And you just like continue this process. And at some point we got to stop being pussies and essentially just own it and talk about it and stop it. But it rings true. You know, granted, I've only been doing this, you know, since 2018 really is when Josh and I first started the Agoge. And it really grew legs in 2020. But So we've been doing that since then, and it's consistently the same. It's consistently the same, and it's sad and it's sick. And I'm one of the 1 in 3. You know, I was physically abused as a child by a stepfather, and my mom didn't know about it until I was 11 years old when I fought back, and then we created this whole scuffle, and it was loud in the house, and she knew, and he was out of the house that day. But the damage had been done, right? That damage had been done. So I had to, you know, and there was the second and third order effects that happened because of those situations from the time I was 5 until the time I was 11. And I think it's just really sick, insecure people. Like I can't wrap my head around causing that kind of trauma to a child.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, if you peel the curtain back and look at people that are suffering from any kind of addiction, whether it's drugs or alcohol, porn, or doing something totally inappropriate to an adolescent, I feel like oftentimes that comes to fill this void or emptiness in their life, something that's taboo and can't be talked about in public circles. But like, I don't know, man. I mean, I used to look at porn when I was younger, like most guys do. But it's the moment I started a business doing something that I was fulfilled and passionate about, I recognized instantaneously, like there's no room in my life for noise that doesn't improve this.
There's nothing in your life worth that it does. If it doesn't give you a return on investment, I'm not investing in it.
100%. And I feel like so many people do these terrible things because their life brings them no sense of fulfillment. They don't feel like they're contributing. They don't feel like they've got a sense of purpose.
Or the really bad stuff. I think that it happened. I think it's things that have happened, maybe potentially happened to them.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
for sure.
And so we're now repeating cycles.
Yeah. So it's like, in order to solve the root problem, people need to find their calling or passion, whatever you want to call it, but like have some sense of purpose in life that's worth more than all these negative ROIs.
And own your shit. Own it.
Yeah.
Own your shit. And that's you know, I had a coffee mug back in the day. I think I don't know if we still do. I think I still have it on the website, but and it's facing inward, right? So if you're holding it in the right hand, it's not outward facing, it's inward. It's like own your shit. You know, you got to deal with your stuff every time. You know,
and that's scary for a lot of people, man. I mean, it's a big weight to bear, but like it's so much more empowering when you reap what you sow, for better or worse. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like that's just the best way to go about life, in my opinion.
Absolutely, like it's the only way.
Yeah. When you were building all these businesses and decided to like, you know, strip away the excess businesses and just focus on the core, at what point, like, how do you view the concept of being ambitious, wanting to grow, being aggressive, but then also being content and having enough? Like, how do you kind of juggle that?
That's a great question, because guys like you and I are probably building stuff. We fight the being content all the time. Mm-hmm. That is a daily practice, and it's something that I talk to my wife all the time. Like I have this. I'm so glad you brought it up. I have this thing inside me that wants to create and build and do more, and it never goes away. Mm-hmm. It just never goes away. I think the biggest thing for me was, so I had kids when I was younger. So I have a 23-year-old and 19-year-old, both girls, and then I started over, and now I've got a 5-year-old boy, and we're about to adopt as well. So like in October, we got another boy coming, and then who knows after that? Like nothing's really off the table. We're not like we're done after this. You know what I mean? Like we could adopt again. I don't know. And I think being my age now and being the level of success that I have now.
How old are you?
I'm 43.
43.
And with my kid, you know, and knowing how fast my girls grew up. Like, dude, I feel like my girls literally were 2 and 5, you know, yesterday. Mm-hmm. And they're grown adults. Like they could be having kids of their own. Mm-hmm. To realize how fast that happens is what's given me this conversation with my wife of, wow, what really matters? And I've hired my own coaches and business coaches, and I've invested probably, well into $350,000 to $400,000 in my own coaching and personal development. And all of them, every single one of them have talked about play and talked about enjoying life. And I'm like, but I like to work to enjoy life. And they're like, yeah, we understand that. But your work will thrive so much more. Your creativity will thrive so much more when you stop and you go play with your kids and you actually live life. Mm-hmm. And so over the last 5, maybe a little less than 5 years, I've really had this pivot in life to where it's like, oh, I'm going to go do life. And we have since then, dude, we take so many vacations. Like we truly make life fun. And they were right. The more that I do that, the more creative I get at work, the more things that happen at work, the more I'm able to handle at work. Like, for instance, we're going, I just got off like I was telling you, I just got off a 2-month thing with Marvel for the Punisher. And now we're heading to Greece for 3 weeks to go visit my family. And nice. And I'll do some work there, but like I'll be in Greece. You know what I'm saying? We went to Puerto Rico. We've gone to Hawaii. I mean, we've gone. I don't even know all the places that I've gone this year. And so we play hard, and because of that, and you kind of like said it at the beginning, like how do you balance it all? It's like because I found out what really matters, and at the end of the day, like all of this is extra.
Yeah,
like all of this, I could quit today, make a little bit of money. Like I don't have to keep up with the Joneses. I don't need a big house and all this extra toys and stuff. Like I just need a small little place. Like I can live like I'm in Europe. Like, I have a different perspective because half of my family is from overseas, and they live different than we do here in America. Like they just do. And so I live like that a lot when we travel. Like I was up in New York, and I had a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City, and my family came up there, and my wife and I was like, we could totally live here with our family, like in this 1-bedroom apartment. Like we could make it work totally in this world. And I'm like, yeah. And we don't need a lot of things. And the more that you realize that, the more you realize how little you really need, and what you really need is just to be with your family and to be able to play with your family. And so when you have that, here's what's crazy is like, there's this whole keeping up with the Joneses thing where it's like, I make more money, I get a bigger house, make more money, I get another car, buy a bigger car, more expensive car. And you just like level up, but your life really never changes. You're always kind of hand to mouth. Or you can continue to make more money, live well below your means. And now you have freedom.
Yeah.
Now you have freedom to go anywhere, to do anything. And I think that's what's really beautiful.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. I think living below your means is key. I mean, like I look at, like I'm super ambitious. I want to grow and build and
of course,
develop as much as I possibly can.
At the end of the day, we're here to create, right? Like we were created to create. Like that's our purpose.
For sure. And when I was younger, like that's all I could fixate on, like just the things, the pomp and circumstance. And I've had like a lot of higher profile clients lately, and I've had like a lot of people on the podcast. I've just interacted with people that are on the quote unquote next level, Yeah. And oftentimes they're not content, they're not fulfilled, they're not happy, they're not healthy, and they've like seen their life flash before their eyes. And they've got a lot of things to point to, but
and then they need to read my book, The 7 Stages of Transition, right?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah. And then I like see this unfold, and I'm like looking at them, and then I'm looking at my life, and I'm like, man, I've got an amazing wife. I got 2 beautiful, healthy sons.
That's right.
I got a dog. I got a freezer full of meat that I've hunted, and I got a comfortable house in the middle of the country. Like, what else more could I possibly ask for, man?
That's it.
I think that's the key, man. Like people just, and the work that I do is amongst like my crew, whom I'm great friends with. I've got an awesome crew right now. We're creating value for people that want to do what we're doing. It's like, man, I could take venture capital and have a multi-billion-dollar business, but if I would have to throw this away for that, I
Yeah.
would just take this, you know?
Yeah. Right. Because that's what matters.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
matters. I
Yeah.
think kids bring a lot of perspective on that too. I mean, especially you've got an interesting situation having the older daughters and now the 5-year-old son. And how old's the one you're going to be adopting?
Oh, he's going to be born October 25th.
Okay, so brand new baby then.
Brand new baby.
So you've kind of like seen as a father all of that unfold, the different chapters in their life, and it's like, man, time. I mean, we're only given so much time.
And as you get older, it feels like time moves even faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's why like things like, you know, I guess you can say like, I don't like the word balance.
I don't either. It's bullshit.
It's like you have one life, man. What are you balancing? You're trying to have a split personality and have two lives. Like that doesn't work. It's about your priorities.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get your priorities in order.
Yeah.
Once you have your priorities in order, you're not trying to balance the things. Like if your family is a priority, then make them a priority. Make them a priority and fit everything around it. Dan Sullivan has this thing. I don't know if you ever studied any of his stuff, but Dan Sullivan has this concept of free days that he works with a lot of his people on, and his coaches teach that. And they have like what's it called? Focus days, buffer days, and then free days. And then one of the guys that I worked with that did that program, he took like 180 free days a year, and his company is making millions.
When you decided to play more, as you said,
Yeah,
spend more time with the family, travel more, just like disconnect from the grind, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
When you first made that shift, was it like a total and complete surrender, or it was like I'm gonna try and hold on and make sure all the everything's in line, or like how did that play out initially?
Horribly. Because then you're like trying to do something, but you're still plugged in, and I had to have faith in the thing that I built had its own legs, and I had to have the faith in the thing that like the team that I had, that it wouldn't, granted there's a lot of work leading up to that, right? Like the right people have to be in place, the right systems have to be in place. But I built something substantial that just because I'm not there doesn't, for a week or a few days or just a day, doesn't mean that the ship is going to sink. Like everything's going to be fine. Like there might be a fire, but like nothing that you can't deal with tomorrow. Yeah. And when I started to realize that is when I started to let go. And then the training that I was getting, the thought process that I was getting, the changes that I was making, I started to put those on the team as well. So I was giving them the same stuff, same thing to my business partners. And the more that happened, the more that I could empower my team and really sit back as more of, a patriarch or a high level leader, that I'm just really coaching my team, the better things become.
Yeah. Plus it empowers your crew more. They feel like more vested in it, more responsible, and they want to please you and make sure everything's running as it should. And they take more ownership in their work, so
That's
like everything benefits.
That's right. Yep.
What are you going to do different apart from spending more time with your son now that he's 5 and you've kind of had this shift since your daughters got older? What's another tangible difference you're going to do in raising him?
So one, they never really seen the inside of a school. It'll just be raised by us and all over the world. But I'm heading towards a different chapter myself. Like we're planning. In the next few years, we'll have an exit from one of our companies. There'll be a life-changing exit, where we'll have created generational wealth for years to come. That is going to drastically change our lifestyle, not to where we are living like we're, wealthy or anything, but to where we have the flexibility of true life. So I'm in the next few years, my transition, and this has all been talked about with my wife, is we really will become more family focused. Like that will become more of our life. And then my creation time will be fit in the gaps. My work time with the other businesses will fit in those gaps, so like morning routine, and like I probably like you, I don't know, I had a really hardcore morning routine at one point where I was like 4:30 up, did my creation, my planning, studying, sauna, cold plunge, meditation early before even the sun came up. I would sacrifice sleep. I would redline, I'd white knuckle, and I'd get all this stuff done. And that was in this building phase. And I'm not saying that that's not required at some point in life, right? Where you've got to be able to do it all. You've got to be able to take care of your family. You can't sacrifice one. You got to be disciplined. But then, as time goes on, you only have so much time in the day. And it's like, okay, sleep is actually really important. Sacrificing sleep is probably the thing you should never do. So then I'm looking at, well, I don't want to sacrifice my family time. I don't want to sacrifice morning breakfasts with my family, making them eggs and bacon on the Blackstone and like having this routine, going for walks, but I don't also want to lose my morning routine. And I know that everybody has a different setup, and this is just for me. I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about me. And at some point I'm in this transition to where I still get my 8 to 9 hours of sleep, right? I still do my morning routine. It's just not at 4:30. Maybe it's at 6:30. Maybe I don't have to be at work until 10:30. But then I'm super focused and I don't have ADD. And from 10 to 10 or 10:30 to 2:30 or 3, I'm dialed in and creating, having the meetings that I need to create. And then it's done. I'm back to family time. We're doing jiu-jitsu with the family. We're throwing the ball. We're doing whatever. We're swimming, right? We're living life. That's to doing whatever that we're doing, right? That's the life for me.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say it, man, because I was like, I didn't get near enough sleep last night. I typically get 5 or 6 hours a night, wake up at 3, 4, and then just go nonstop until I get home. And I'm like, I like my morning routine. Like I wake up, work out, go for a run, do some client work, emails. Then I've got like a day's worth of work done before my crew gets here at 8 to work. And I like that. But man, like years and years of just 5, 6 hours of sleep. I'm like, this is doing myself no favors whatsoever. So I need to like reroute a few things here. 33.
33. Yeah, you're young,
Yeah.
And you got,
I don't mind it.
No, of course not. Of course not. And you know what? To be honest, that's how you build a business.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's how you build a business. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do it another way, but that way builds a business.
Yeah.
You show people what can happen. But imagine doing that same routine, but getting 8 hours of sleep.
Exactly.
And still doing all of it.
I don't get a good night's sleep. I mean, I'm way more alert, productive, efficient, effective when I'm actually well slept. So I'm like trying to think how I can revamp all this. And like, I want to get my son they get like a 3 to 5 year old jiu-jitsu class.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about getting him enrolled in.
Do it.
Like, man, I'll just leave earlier in the day, get him in that, wear him out. When we come home, we can actually fall asleep soon because he'll be exhausted, hopefully.
And you get time with the wife, right? Now
Exactly.
you're dating your wife at night, right?
Yeah. So I'm probably going to roll that out and just try and like solve all those scheduling conflicts in one fell swoop.
That's right. It's an adjustment, man. Don't beat yourself up, but it's definitely an adjustment. But it is, man, as you get older, and like you said, like kids become clear, make things a little bit clearer. And you see the investment when you're with them more, the way that they act, the way that they think, the way they speak. When like my son has legitimately been a science experiment. Like when we had our son, it was like, okay, he's going to have this much grams of protein a day. He's never going to have this vaccine. He's never going to do this. He's never going to eat sugar. He's never, and you know what's crazy is people go, what is up with this kid? Why is he's like a little adult at 5 years old. Like we've never taught him how to do, front handsprings, cartwheels. He just does it. He's strong. He's a jack. Like in Hawaii, there was a picture. Actually, they were on the beach too. We were in the water and he's up on the sand. And this little guy, he looks like little Hercules. He's got like delts, a chest, and abs at 5 years old. And we're just like, what the heck? But it's because of his diet. It's because of his play routine. He's lifted weights and trained in the gym since he could walk.
Yeah.
And he's been doing jiu-jitsu since he was 2.
Yeah. See, that's awesome. And we do the same thing with our kid. Like my wife was keto throughout her pregnancy. My son's been keto since birth. Like he does push-ups every day when I'm doing my pull-ups.
Yeah.
We get him in jiu-jitsu. Like he's out there shooting the bow every afternoon with me. Like he's a little stud, 3 years old. And I'm like, I just want to pour into them so that they just have like the best footing possible going into the world. You know, like that's
And they're just
because that's
built. They're
probably
just
what you
built
want.
different.
Yeah,
They're built
100%.
different. Yeah. And that's what I laugh with my wife. I'm like, yeah, dude, we're just creating a little science experiment. This is our little test tube, because he was IVF. So like our little test tube science experiment, baby.
I love it, man.
But he's a savage, man. Because of that, he's a savage. And it's the choices that we made for him early on that are going to set him up to be so much more successful in life. Like he's going to have his own problems, like we all do, right? But let him create those, let him solve those. But like set this kid up for success to be different. And he sees the world different. He asks questions. There's like little stuff that society does that's weird, and he's like, why did they do that? And they're like, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, you know what, it's a really good point. I don't know why they do that. It doesn't make any sense, and he can detect that at 5 years old.
Critical thinking, man.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
What tell me about this program. Like what all you working on in the day-to-day now? Like what's commanding a lot of your time outside of the family stuff? What's got you excited?
Really Johnny Slicks, man. Like we turned Johnny Slicks is a American-made all organic grooming company. We started with $400 and we built it into an 8-figure business in under 7 years. And this year we were rolling it out to retail. And so now I'm in a lot of talks with private equity firms and taking this from a national brand to an international brand. And we manufacture in house. We fulfill in house. We are a grassroots company, and we've maintained that over the time. People told us to outsource this and outsource that, and customer service to Philippines and fulfillment to here and manufacturing overseas and all this kind of stuff. And we would make so much more money. You know what? We'd make a lot more money. But who really wins then? Overseas, right? Not Americans. Like we have over 30 employees here. We have husbands and wives that work here. We have kids from those families that work here. And if we didn't do that, then those guys wouldn't have their jobs and be able to put food on the plate and have a working environment they love. Not to mention every single one of our vendors, over 400 vendors, are all U.S. companies. So think about the second and third order effects of us purchasing like our glass jars, our ingredients, our labels. Everything is from a U.S. company, which makes it expensive and makes it hard to do. But we built something that we believe in. And we've built an 8-figure company doing it that way. And I think people like it. I think people want a cheap price, but when it's built on something better, and we've been doing now like manufacturing in the US and whatnot is becoming a big thing because of, under the Trump administration, and they're giving us a lot of tax breaks to do it, et cetera. But we were doing it before it was popular. And there's a lot of companies out there, like my good friend Pete at Origin, they've been standing on this thing for like 15 years. They're doing it. They're standing their ground, and I think it's coming back. And I think what's going to happen is it's really going to benefit America. And
I'm wearing Origin pants right now, man.
So am I actually. And it's something I've just believed in. Like, so, I've really made it a focus as much as I can to choose to buy American made things and American source goods. And so for Johnny Slicks, it's a fight, man. It's a fight, but we have, we just made a kind of an educational video on that. And I put it on my YouTube and put it on Instagram, about the history of American made, where it started, where it, kind of where we went wrong. And then how we're bringing it back, and some of the other companies that are doing that and why and how it benefits. And it's like, this company, when you buy a bottle of our soap, it's impacting thousands of people's lives. One bottle of soap is impacting thousands of Americans' lives, because you're not just impacting the employees here. You're impacting from the bottle to the label to every single ingredient in that thing is benefiting some American family. And I think that's freaking rad, dude.
It is.
When you say you can buy a bottle of soap and it's impacting thousands of Americans' lives, the way they put food on their plate right here in America, that is fucking cool.
It is. And I mean, honestly, man, like keeping things in house, like I got a lot of respect for that. I mean, I feel like we own our own ketogenic meal replacement bar. It's like 1,000-calorie shelf-stable bar. A lot of hunters and bodybuilders and stuff use them.
I'm gonna have to
But
get
like we've
some of
had
that.
so many
Yeah.
people. Yeah, I'll send you some.
Yeah.
But like so many people have pushed me to go the co-packing route, outsource it, farm it off, have 3PLs, and from day one, man, it's been me and my wife, and then we've just grown organically. Like we were leasing a building. She and I were sleeping on a warehouse floor for 3 years building this business. Now we've got our own space. It's all in-house, like the packaging, the formulation, the production, the shipment, the fulfillment, everything. And like,
Congratulations, dude. That's amazing.
appreciate it. But like when I talk to people that do that, who keep it in-house when all the push is to outsource, like I just understand you and you understand me on a different level. Because
Different
like,
level. Yep.
yeah, I mean,
That's right.
I get excited about going to freaking Uline and buying a freaking mop bucket to sweep my damn floors. They're my
Right.
floors. They're not somebody
Right.
else's floors.
Right.
And I feel like that. I mean, that's what life's all about, man. Creating something with your own two hands,
That's
and
right.
if you can do it all domestically in the U.S. and impact people, like that's huge, man.
Yeah. Congratulations, dude. That's huge, man. That's amazing for you and your family. Yeah.
And what is the name of yours? I'm always on the lookout for good soap, so I'm going to have to check yours out.
Johnny Slicks.
Johnny Slicks.
Yeah.
All right.
You type that into a web browser, man. We got you linked. Like you'll see all of our stuff.
I'll see it all.
You'll
All right.
see it all. Yeah.
Well, shoot, man. I'll be getting some. We need some soap this week, actually, so I'll be buying some.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I'll send you some. I'll send you a good package as well. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you, man. You got a lot of things going on that are all positive. You're impacting people. You're fighting a good fight. Where do people go to find out more and just follow along in your world, brother?
Best thing for me, like really, is Instagram right now. It's just the easiest platform for me to respond to people, and I do like to respond. Like people like to ask questions, and a lot of the stuff I deal with, from everything from HRT to like the trauma stuff, military things, goals, settings, problems with their significant other or whatnot. It just gives me the ability to actually like have private conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the biggest thing is, and then from there you will find literally all of my things.
Nice. And your YouTube, like, do you still have like a playlist for those 90 days? That'd be interesting to go back.
Yeah, it's on there, right? It's on there. Yeah, the 90 day vlog. It's up there.
Sweet. I'll check it out, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't judge me.
brother.
It was years ago. Don't judge me. I try not to roll back too far on YouTube. It's like, oh man,
No, I got some of my OG videos too, man. Every time I watch them, I'm like, man, that was rough.
that was rough, but we're doing it. We're just 1% better every day, man.
And like we were saying earlier, man, being transparent, just letting people see the authentic
That's
self,
it. That's it.
Well, Nick, pleasure, brother. Let's definitely keep the conversation going. If there's everything I can do for you, man, you just let me know.
Thank you, Robert.
See you, man.